Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Soft Left. I'm Sandra Battaglini, and this is a show where comedians get to hash out news and events as they unfold in a COVID new world. From our base here in Toronto. So Soft Left is the opposite of a hard right, in case you're wondering. And we're back tonight for our 9th episode, Evictions, Celebrations, and Prosecutions. So sit back or sit up, because I know a lot of you lazy fucks are just lounging on your couch right now. In fact, I just want to take a moment to say how uncomfortable I would be at times during some Zoom calls when people are just lounging. And I'm like, sit up. We're having a formal conversation. Anyways, I digress. Come join us on this roller coaster ride of information, disinformation, truth, and lies, because that is our world after all. This is a donor-supported show, so please follow us at the link at the bottom of the screen to donate. If you'd like to be a sponsor, email softleftShow@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon page. You can find all this information out at our website, our newly launched website, softleft.com. We'd love the patrons. Yes. And so, and we close each episode with a question period, which is like the question period in the House of Commons, but just less douchey, you know? And so, viewers, if you have any questions, please save those for the end of the broadcast. We can't wait to talk. So anyways, let's meet our panelist. Our first panelist, who I quote, "One thing I'll say about Trump and Hitler, if you want to talk about racism, Hitler was never once convicted of racist rental practices. Hitler was arguably a better landlord than Trump." It's Monty Scott. Or is it? Monty's not here. What the hell? Oh my God. You know, he may have... Guys, hold on. I know I don't think so. Anyways, Monty's not here. What are you gonna do? Okay, let's go to our next. This is how tight we are here at the Soft Left, guys. I mean, he could have been struck down by the heat wave. What are you gonna do? Anyways, according to our next panelist, there's always election in America: the primaries, the juniors, the intermediates, the prom vote. It's Phil Luzi. Oh, look.
Oh, hi. I was just looking for Monty. You know, I was like, where's Monty? Maybe I should look for him.
I know. Where is he? I was like, I think maybe Monty's not here, but just in caso, you never know.
I love the prom vote. Got to keep that going.
Yeah, that's you. That was from the last episode. You look tropical. It looks very exciting there.
I'm at home.
Yeah. And my air conditioner busted, so I'm really hot. But I'm okay. Anyways, what are we going to do?
You look cool. You look cool to me.
Oh, thanks, baby girl. Thank you. Next up, Carol Zoccoli, who not only collected her $25 Loblaws gift card for their admitted role in the bread fixing scandal. Do you remember that? But she also said, "Are you guys crazy? If I have the opportunity to collect $1 from Loblaws, why wouldn't I do it?" It's Carol Zoccoli.
That is totally true, and I'm looking for Monty. I'm gonna find him. Wait, where is he?
Oh no, he's not anywhere. Oh,
no, Monty's not here. It's not here.
I mean, it was inevitable because every time before broadcast, he usually shows up a minute before, and this time he's not here.
Yeah, but
how you doing?
We practice forgiveness, right, Sandra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no judgment.
Absolutely none. So how you doing today?
Oh, I've been so anxious lately, Sandra. I don't know why. Yeah,
I understand that.
Pandemic.
Well, it's everything. It feels uneasy for sure. I'm with you. It's a crazy world to navigate at the time, but I'm so happy you're here with us tonight. And we're gonna keep introducing our panelists. Our next panelist, in her own words, she has a penchant for military green, and she also said that 2 parties and 72 brands of ketchup, that's America. It's Candice Gregoris.
Oh, well, hi, Sandra. Monty's not in this book either.
Oh my God. Where is he? It's like, and he's got shit to talk about. You know what?
Yeah,
he might just I hope he shows up late. I hope
Monty San Diego. We gotta get the word out on PBS looking for Monty.
Oh my God. How you doing today, girl?
I am bright and ready. I'm laced up and ready to go.
Yeah, and your good news, your separation is finally separated.
It's happening. Yes. Oh my
my
God,
God.
I signed the papers on Monday.
And it's a separation from her first husband. It's her first
It was, you know what? I will say this, Sandra. A woman's first divorce is a very special time in her life.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to honor the spirituality of all of that.
Oh, that's good. I can see it. You seem renewed, relaxed. And last but not least, our guest tonight, who is here because we both met at the Vagina Monologues. It's MPP for Toronto St. Paul, Jill Andrew.
I am so honored to be here, Sandra.
Oh my
Look
God.
at that. We unite again.
It is just truly, I mean, I think it's been maybe a year and a half that you and I have been trying to connect.
I know. And now COVID-19 has brought us together.
And also, just so everybody knows, Jill Andrew just spoke in the House. What do you call it in the legislature?
Yeah, so it's called a member statement. We get to do a member statement one a month, and it's 90 seconds, and you try to say as much as you possibly can about a topic that's really passionate, or that you're really passionate about. And for me, this topic this month was culture and arts, and the many artists I've spoken to who are frankly hanging on by a thread. You know, I mean, our concerts are shut down, our theaters are shut down, our stages are shuttered. So, you know, how do you manage an income? How do you manage to keep, you know, alive? I've got a photographer friend of mine who said the other day that his creativity was such a source of pride for him, that with the ability taken away, he's really struggled with finding himself during this time. So I really just wanted to talk and you know, shout out comedians, poets, artists, dancers, the whole nine, and just say thank you, because so many of you have, you know, pivoted, you know, shape shifted in the fashion world, you know, and have given back generously to community. And I just think it's time that the government give back generously to you.
I agree. And Jill next week is going to be launching a petition to have comedy recognized as an art form in the province of Ontario.
Right on.
And this is very monumental. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. Sure. But thank you, Jill, for being here. We're so happy to have you. And now, the week's recap. Okay, so mothers are mad. The Organization Against Distance and Hugs Over Masks gathered in Toronto streets and subways this week to protest the mandatory wearing of masks. Led by deranged mother Letizia Montana, she likened wearing masks to some of the greatest atrocities of history. The bylaw, which came into effect this week, doesn't actually have any fines attached to it for non-compliance. Joe, hit up the video.
Is that the world we want to live in? That is what has led to the greatest atrocities throughout history that have oppressed minorities, have oppressed dissidents. Anybody who doesn't vote the main narrative that's being pushed, you're an outcast. You gotta be killed. You gotta be ostracized. Is that the Canada we want to live in?
No, freedom is essential, and that's what we're proving today. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to get contact traced, get contact traced. If you want to get a vaccine, get a vaccine. But you're not going to tell us to do what we don't want to do. Freedom of choice is essential to a functioning society. And that's what we're here to show everybody today. United, non-compliant.
Know your rights, everybody. Know your rights.
Know your rights, protect your rights, or they'll take your rights.
Hugs over masks.
Hugs over masks.
We don't have to ask.
Hugs over masks. Hugs over masks.
Okay.
Hugs over masks. 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 Hugs over.
Okay, that was the guy in the muscle shirt is Chris Sakocha, who filmed himself barreling through the Longos in Woodbridge with no mask. His last name literally means pockets. Watch his video.
Chris Sky here with Matt. and I'm going to show you how to deal with so-called mandatory masks. Hi.
Hi, why are you videotaping?
Because I'm allowed to?
No.
And you're not allowed to touch me? I'm sorry. I don't need to wear a mask. I have a medical condition. You're welcome to call the police. Go ahead. As you see on video, I got 1 out of the 100 psychos who assaulted me by hitting me with the door and pushing me, and then I had to stop filming because I went in the store. They said they called the cops on me. They brought about 6 security guards around and said I was going to go to jail. I calmly went about and did my shopping. There it is. I had to get this maple syrup. If I came home without that, it would have been way worse. Trust me. And I told them, call the cops. They said, you better get out of here before they come. I said, no, I'll wait. I went in line, waited 10, 15 minutes. They said, no one will check you out. Sure enough, they had no choice but to check me out. And here I am.
And comedian who knows Sakocha from Woodbridge, Pavone said him and his father could both fit in a pocket because they're a bunch of 5 foot nothings. In other news, the New York Magazine declared to make America Canada again. Yes, we agree. We'd really like that, in fact. But America made Canada America. So it's hard to know the difference sometimes who the dumb one is. And the White House tweeted this week, Americans are the people who pursued our manifest destiny across the ocean, into the uncharted wilderness, over the tallest mountains, and then into the skies, and even into the stars. If this is your PR move to convince us that America is the greatest nation in the world, then at least admit for once that the only way you were able to do this was by stealing, enslaving, and murdering. America, we're over your bullshit. Then TMZ reported rapper Kanye West was in the midst of a bipolar episode, according to his family, when he announced that he was running for president under the new party, the birthday party. That's so disappointing. He's in the bipolar episode, because I would have voted for the birthday party. I mean, does that mean we just celebrate birthdays every day? Because then that would just be a great time. And finally, a former Nazi SS watchman, 93-year-old Bruno Day, has been charged with 5,230 counts of accessory to murder while he was a guard at the Struthof concentration camp during World War II, and is facing the real tough sentence of 3 years in jail. Because he was 17 years old at the time, he's being tried in juvenile court. I mean, the world just keeps getting weirder. And guys, here are the stories we're covering tonight. I know there's supposed to be a little intro, but I guess, and here okay, whatever. Bill 184. Doug Ford is done being tough on commercial landlords, but now is being a pussy to residential ones. Dubbed the mass eviction bill, according to Lead Now, it could make thousands of people homeless in just 3 weeks in Toronto. On July 4th, America's Day of Independence, Donald Trump said, "We will defend, protect, and preserve the American way of life," which began in 1492 when Columbus discovered America, which is the same thing as saying what my dad has always declared: there was no civilization before Christopher Columb. The 1994 Crime Bill. This white supremacist was the lead architect of the 1994 Crime Bill signed into law under Bill Clinton, which contributed to the mass incarceration of black men in the 90s. It's Joe Biden, Democratic nominee and gross-faced sicko. Then, if things couldn't get even more amazing, or not amazing for some people, guess who's sick? Jair Messias Bolsonaro, president, dictator, and moron of Brazil. And finally, advertisers, the beacon of morality and justice, have joined a call threatening a boycott to Facebook, saying they're not doing enough to fight hate speech. It's nice to see advertisers fighting for once instead of brainwashing and manipulating. And now let's begin tonight's show in our lead story. Here I do it again. I'm waiting for my bumper, but it's not going to happen. Okay. Now I feel weird, but that's okay. This is what it is. Homemade. This is a homemade show. This is. There you go. That was the thing I was waiting for. So Bill 184. Doug Ford is trying to push changes to Bill 184 that would make it easier for landlords to evict tenants. This is a very different Doug Ford, who just a month ago said to commercial landlords, nothing drives me more crazy than greedy landlords taking advantage of people and small business owners who are just trying to keep their head above water. And he concluded by telling them, don't force my hand. While I was like, fuck yeah, Ford, I love the way he was talking then. And I was moved by Ford's change of heart during all of this. It was the first time that a conservative government became socialist overnight. It was beautiful. It was a utopian dream. But the way I look at it is they can try to evict people. But if the government starts to get dirty on this, the people will revolt. Imagine thousands more homeless on the streets. It's going to be a riot. And so my question to the panel is, do you think they'll be successful? And will they be able to enforce this given the current climate of demonstration and civil action? But before we do that, I just want to hand it over to Jill Ander to briefly tell us what the proposed changes are to Bill 184. She's one of the people fighting this the hardest.
Hello, everyone. So here's the deal. Bill 184, the government's bill, they try to pull the wool over people's eyes and tell them that this is a bill that's going to, liberate renters and liberate folks, tenants who are dealing with absorbent debt right now because of COVID-19. But that simply isn't true. What Bill 184 has done is it's actually made it easier for landlords to bully, tenants who are struggling, tenants who have lost their jobs, who, have fallen back on rent, bully them into signing, rent repayment agreements. And then here's the clincher. If you miss one of those rent repayment scheduled payments, you can be evicted without a hearing at the landlord tenants board. So that's a really fun part. I mean, the reality is, we're dealing with COVID-19. And of course, as a member of the official opposition, it's our job to bring back into the legislature what we hear in community. And what we've been hearing in the community is people wanted rent control. People needed rent relief, for goodness sakes. They needed a promise that there'd be no rent increases. They need properly working air conditioning in the summer, for goodness sakes. And none of these pieces are in this legislation that's supposed to help tenants. So, we've called it the eviction bill. Many of the prominent tenants advocacy groups that I'm so proud of have called it the eviction bill. And that is exactly what it is. And this is a huge concern considering our housing crisis in Ontario, considering, the lack of affordable housing, considering our homelessness crisis. Now is just not the time to have folks scared, not to have strong legislation protecting tenants. And I'm talking both residential tenants and small business. When this all happened in March, we absolutely jumped up as official opposition and said, hey, Doug, let's get some rent relief. Let's get some rent relief happening for our small businesses, direct money in their hands. Let's get some rent relief happening for, tenants, renters, for goodness sakes, direct funding in their hands. And the government said, no. So all these months. And the thing that's really scary is, sure, Doug Ford said, if you don't have money to pay rent, don't pay it, right? But what people don't realize is, there's arrears. And you may not be paying now, but when you get hit with that $10,000 bill or that $18,000 bill a few months from now, there's no legislation. There's nowhere in here that says, don't worry, you won't have to pay that, because it's not the truth. So,
yes.
I'll tell you, the number one issue in our office has been about rent. It's been about tenants. It's about our small businesses that we have lost so many up because they just did not. I mean, who was expecting this? It's an unprecedented pandemic. And no government is perfect. We may say that, but when you have an official opposition, when you have your own constituents in Ontario begging you for rent relief, for goodness sakes, for rent control, for rent subsidies, for goodness sakes, for utilities to be frozen, the small things to just get you through, so you're not choosing between food and medicine and rent, and the government says no. That's a concern. So this little shiny puppy, Bill 184, it has gone through second reading, and next week it'll go through third reading. And I mean, we will go in there scrappy as ever, and we will go in there, armed with all of the letters from our constituents who have written us books on why this is oppressive legislation, and we will do our darndest. But it's also a majority government, and that's why we have to kick them the hell out in 2 years and take our comfortable seats as the NDP government and the future of Ontario.
That's amazing. Yeah, exactly. Just say, so to me, and that's a question with the panel is, do you think they'll be successful? Do you think they'll make it into law? Given the current climate of unrest that is happening right now.
Well, I think it will. I'm very positive about Canadian government just because I'm from Brazil, So I think here we are, everything is beautiful. But I know I'm joking. I think if the pressure, if they keep pressuring, maybe, because they don't want to go on the streets.
Can I hop in, Sandra, or no? Is there a line?
Please, no, keep talking. Monty just said he didn't see the link, so I'm just sending it to him. So yeah, please keep talking. I'm listening. I just
the reality is renters have said it loud and clear, and this is a time, what COVID-19 has done is it has unleashed, it has really demonstrated to us how inequities permeate our society. I mean, it's certainly not unleashed things that we didn't already know, but it's exasperated it, right? And
Absolutely.
People are going to resist. And they will resist in the ways that they feel they need to resist.
Yeah.
And the government will certainly have a lot of folks to be accountable for. Because again, this is just not what, Ontarians need right now. They need direct support. We also said basic income, we need an emergency income to help people during this time, and it's sort of a little shocking, when we see that these sorts of asks aren't being responded to, and the government is just sort of sitting there, let's see what, our federal, let's see what our prime minister is going to do. That's great. Sit and collaborate and do what you do as premier. But as premier, you also have the power to make a law yesterday.
Yeah.
So people need support now. And I mean, CERB is drying up,
Yeah.
And let me tell you, first of all, there are a lot of cultural workers who didn't even qualify for CERB to to with. And when it dries up, then what?
So that's why I
think about basic income then, or rent subsidies then. What's going to happen then? So I think everybody here knows, we've been talking about this quite a bit. To me, because what the pandemic revealed too was for the first time, the earth is part of this conversation. So it was this virus came and it and a lot of people are mad about wearing masks. A lot of people feel like their civil liberties are being encroached upon and all that. But for the first time in a long time, the earth got a break. And so I feel like this greed and this that we've been experiencing for the last long while is starting to get pulled down. So it's I think these guys can try. You know what I mean? They can try, but I think the mother's gonna come back and be like, "No, you ain't." You know what I mean? So that's the question, guys. I just want to say we have Monty Scott. You look like you're in the dark a little bit, Monty, but we're happy.
He looks like a mysterious.
I'm actually strangely.
DJ.
I'm in the light, believe it or not. But
you just got to turn it around a little bit. Oh, there we go.
There we are.
Everybody was looking in bags and in books and being like, we can't find Monty. Phil had a thing. And now Phil's gone. Where's Phil?
I literally came out of the pool to do this, and I was like, where the hell is the link? What's going on?
Wow.
And I was missing. Now my head looks as big as Easter Island. But anyway, let's.
Monty, we were just talking about.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here. We were just talking about Bill, and this is Jill, MPP, NDP for St. Paul. Toronto, St. Paul.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Joe.
Very nice to meet you, Monty.
I'm so sorry. I keep interrupting, but we were just talking about Bill 184, the eviction bill. They're dubbing it. Jill is working really hard on it, and it could mean that in the 3 weeks, thousands of people will be homeless. So my question to the panel was, do you think this will actually happen? And if they somehow make it into law, given the current climate, will we see this true? I mean, to me, I see that like our federal government did the right thing. It was amazing to see off the top of the pandemic that there was no, everyone was aligned. You know what I mean? There was no partisanship. The provinces were aligned with the federal government, and they gave us money right away. They knew what to do, because if they did it, we would have been rioting. I mean, you look in the United States, one-time payment, but now here we are. We're at another crossroads. So we're going to see what they're going to do. This is major.
This is a crossroad, because I mean, even though the federal government did respond, I mean, let's face it, a lot of creatives weren't included in CERB when they first announced it. So, but to their a nod to them, they regrouped, listened to creatives, listened to independent contractors, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't absolve the Premier of Ontario from having a plan for the province. Because, for instance, the small business support, where landlords can opt in, the federal plan, 1% of them, 1% in Canada have opted in. So that's what I mean. Like, let's not make this up to the landlords to help. Let's make this law.
Exactly.
And the Premier can do that. The Premier can say, you know what, Justin, thanks for your federal plan. Those who use it will, but here in Ontario, we're going to give folks direct support for their small businesses and direct support for their rent. So we're not increasing the homeless crisis in Ontario. We're not increasing the crisis around the lack of affordable housing. And he chose to turn his back.
Yeah.
So that's really tough, especially when you consider the big fat salary raise that so many of his MPPs got last year. Yeah. But, hey.
Well, Jill, has he ever turned to face the electorate?
Pardon me?
He's only shown his back. Has he ever turned to face the electorate once?
Guys, you know what? We're gonna thanks so much. That was really great. We're about to move on to our next topic, but before we do, we're just gonna hear from the wizard behind the curtain.
This episode of Soft Left was brought to you by cannabis. How else do you think we're getting through this pandemic?
Yeah, smoke it if you got it. This is actually Carol Zoccoli's. Carol, I still have.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
is that a prop?
Shit.
It's a prop. Yeah.
Tell me it's a prop. Tell me it's a prop.
It's a prop, Jill.
Guys, I will get my prop.
Is that Carol's lengthy filter? Is it just a filter that's Carol's?
It's a government cannabis stick. Isn't this like? Look at this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, what the hell? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna move to our next topic. The 1994 Joe Biden crime bill. I just saw some horrific videos this week. Probably we're not able to show the videos because of royalty, which is too bad. This is the problem with Canadian entertainment. This is why we need money to be able to produce shows about Canadian news and about international issues from the mouths of Canadian, artists and activists. So the 1995 Joe Biden crime bill, and I'm going to quote the evil architect himself. He said, it doesn't matter or not that they're victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother out with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. My question is, what did his family do? Everybody's getting knocked out? Anyways, more on this. Let's turn it over to Monty Scott. Now we've got a couple new bumpers.
Oh, nice.
This show, I think it's the heat. Everything is just like insane today, but I love it. Thank you for our wizard. I love the cannabis. We're doing.
That was awesome. Sandra, even with that quote, somebody should have been like, "Yo, Joe, that's a bit much, no?"
Exactly.
You're gonna shoot my sister and knock my mother out, and almost nobody would vote to have that happen. You'd have to come from a weird family where you're cool with that. But, I have a nonpartisan. I have a big problem with Bill Clinton, as he in my opinion, he was very much a wolf in sheep's clothing presidency, where they created a situation where every company merge until the point of having 3 different media companies to run the United States and much of the airspace, and that crime bill basically created a situation where you're putting companies make a profit off housing criminals. After you're allowing private companies to profit off the incarceration of people, and you wonder how that creates a situation where there's a lot more incarceration. It was like, well, you've allowed private companies to now petition the federal government and the state governments to try to incarcerate more people because that's their business. The one thing that capitalism will always do is try to create more money for itself. So you incentivize these people to create an apocalypse of jailing people. More people in the world have been jailed in the United States than pretty much anywhere else in the world. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's a great shame of that administration that they've done this. And as much as we'd all like that rodeo clown of a freak Trump out of office, and I would vote for Joe Biden had I had the chance, but I don't like the idea of voting for somebody who's more than happy to incarcerate a whole swath of essentially black people for no reason other than profit. It's insane, and he should be held account for doing that. Even though we'd all vote for him, and I mean no harm to his mom or his sister, but at the same time, the man, he should be held to account for a travesty he's done to that country with that bill.
It's a crime against humanity that he committed. I see people, celebrities in the United States, black and white, who say, vote Joe Biden. And I'm like, no, voting Joe Biden is not going to fix this system that is corrupted from underneath.
Mm-hmm,
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Until America stops its global domination of empire, that is always going to be in conflict and deteriorate the democracy, which is done.
Mm-hmm.
So then they play this big game, this big show of it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump. You mean 2 white supremacists? Are you kidding me? I can't have this argument when people are like, well, Joe Biden's the better of 2 evils. No, he's actually not. I mean, they're both fucked. One is just it's not the fix. And I can't believe that they took this away from Bernie Sanders again, who this man has been saying the same thing for 40 years, 50 years, and he gets booted off. Why? Because it's that deep state, it's that shadow government trying to run shit. And so to me, I feel like they're setting up that Donald Trump would win or that things would collapse, or it just doesn't make sense.
That could happen.
Anyways,
that could happen. He could win again. It could happen. No, that's okay. Sorry.
No, I'm jumping over you, so I don't want to jump over you. Finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, if anything has been proven to me, it's that anything that I think is totally outside the realm of possibility can happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just remember everyone talking about, well, I mean, I don't want to relitigate the past, but just let me tell you this. I think he could get elected again. I think that could happen. Mm-hmm. I definitely think you can't sit on, the couch and think it's just, because he's been so outrageous. Well, he was fucking outrageous before. It was a travesty before.
He unleashed what, Jill?
No, I'm saying he unleashed. He has actually simply, given more of a platform for hate. I think some people think, oh no, all of this wasn't in America before Trumpy arrived. Truth is, it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just giving people a platform to be able to feel proud and say, well, I'm not the only one who holds these feelings. So does my president. And I mean, I think now when we're looking at, anti-Black racism, we're looking at anti-Indigenous racism, on our geopolitical platform, to have a bill, to have had this 1994 crime bill. And I got to tell you, I watched some of the videos, I checked out some of his narrative, things like put them to death, things like I don't care, about them being victims. I don't want to know what happened in their life, as to why, they may have done XYZ crime. I mean, he was also perpetuating such racist tropes around Black folks with the language and with the scenarios that he was painting. It was certainly shocking. And I saw in one video where, a reporter asked him maybe 2016, 17, do you regret?
Yeah.
Do you regret your crime bill? Is it something you would have pulled back if you could today? And homeboy stood by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, that certainly was an eye opener. I mean, sometimes hindsight is 20/20, and I think that was a perfect opportunity for him to connect the dots of systemic and institutional racism, and connect the dots of how government could have been doing better on the education front, on the job creation front, on the homes and housing and accessibility front, any front, and how that contributes. The roots of violence, for goodness sakes, the roots of violence. You'd think he'd be able to, give that some air in 2016 even, and he didn't. So I think everyone needs to check out those links. And then, the truth is, it's not just a U.S. thing. It's also right here in Canada. It's right here in Ontario. And, that's why we're certainly fighting hard. We want to have a provincial strategy to address anti-Black racism in schools. We want to have an anti-racism directorate that actually functions in Ontario. And, of course, we're also talking a lot about police reform because, we can't hide under the guise of law and order anymore, because law and order is costing a lot of community folk that look like me. It's costing lives. It's costing lives.
Crazy.
It's just, got to stop. We need change.
Yeah.
Joe Biden in his defense was like, no, I don't take any of that back. Hypothetically, they hit my sister with a pipe.
Yeah, there's another one where somebody raped his mother and then his grandmother.
Yes.
And I was like,
I heard that one too.
I was like, honestly, I think it was some of the most, if not the most racist thing that I've ever seen outside of Hitler.
Trio,
and to me, watching Hitler was offensive, but the language barrier, you know what I mean? You're always just like, I'm trying to catch up. But when you listen to a guy like this, fucking Joe Biden, talk the way he talks, and just so recently, and then, recently he said this in 2008. He said, or actually, not 2008, just really earlier. He says, I won't traffic in fear and division. I won't fan the flames of hate. I'll seek to heal the racial wounds that have long plagued our country instead of us using them as political gain. And that's exactly what this loser sicko is doing.
Although, in fairness, Sandra, I mean, it's a little bit, well, I think the United States has been bad copping us the whole way through with their presidency, because they have a bastard like Bush, and then they're like, oh, it's cool, we bring in Obama and he'll give you a blanket and you shiver for a while, and then they bring in Trump and you're like, oh my God, and then they bring in Biden and you're like, oh, things are better, give me the blanket again. And so it's a back and forth like that. But Trump is the racist coming in the front door.
Yeah.
I mean, you can decide whether or not it's worth it to have a less crazy racist kind of come in the back door.
Yeah.
Those are the choices you're left with.
It's so
here's the thing. Devil's advocate here, though, right? I mean, look at the moment we're in with COVID-19. And we're talking about a president who, refuses to wear a mask, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? That is incredibly scary. And, I'm assuming Joe Biden has worn masks. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Oh my God, Phil is back.
The 1994 crime bill, that is toxic. It was racist. It absolutely would have led to mass incarceration. I think Ava DuVernay's 13th film, sort of revolved around that bill as well too. So this is known information. Yikes.
And you know what? You're right. Joe Biden might have put on a mask. I'll give you that. If we want the devil to come into the conversation. But I'm telling you, that guy is sick, and something dirty is about to come out with him. And
Nice.
I just think that, something ugly, because that guy, you could see it on his face. You're just like, ugh.
Yeah. Hopefully Stacey Abrams gets the memo.
Trump won't wear a mask, but he'll wear a hood.
Phil, what happened? We lost you. You're back. Phil.
I don't know. I'm glad to be here, though.
I'm so happy. This is so
Yeah.
good. Actually, we're gonna go on to our next topic, guys. But before we do, we have a message.
Ooh.
This episode of Soft Left is brought to you by stereotypes. Yeah, stereotypes. You know those things they say, like, you know, black people like to eat chicken wings all the time. Like, we're always eating chicken wings. Like, that's not true. First of all, who doesn't like chicken wings? Everybody likes chicken wings unless you're a vegetarian or a vegan. Another story. But come on, chicken. It's for everybody.
I love that.
That was an important lesson, I think we have.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
That was deep. That was deep.
It was so.
That was.
I've seen vegans succumb to prosciutto, so I know vegetarians succumb to chicken wings because I was a vegetarian for a time. I succumbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I dabbled in vegetarianism for a while.
About a year, but it was good. I was this Sunday. I said I'm going to take a break from meat, and then I had meat yesterday. What are you going to do?
I am vegetarian.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
I think we have to dabble in food security and food justice and ensure that everyone has access. Like, you know, let's make food a human right, for goodness sakes. That and clean water.
That is so funny because we started talking about vegetarianism, and I was thinking about like how the funny thing about diets, but the MPP was just thinking, oh, there's a problem here. Let's solve.
I know, right away she's bringing it. I'm like, no, I can't take it. This world is so crazy. I mean, comedy, like politics will really, in that atmosphere, it can be really crazy. So I think right now we're so super political, whatever's going on, but you know, we got to dial back and start to forgive each other. And I was like, you know, what if the government did a campaign for love? You know what I mean? Like, it's always telling you what to do and what not to do.
That would be incredible.
I'm also with Jill, though. I'd like them to love us. I'd like them to love us with a little bit of justice.
No, but we love each other.
Oh, yeah. But we can also love each other with justice.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that just everyone's fighting now, and it's like, it's insane.
Yes,
it's insane.
I want us to love personal support workers and nurses with PPE. That's what I want us to love them with, you know?
Yeah, I want to, exactly. It's love.
People with clean water.
Yeah. And guys, so we're going to roll into our next topic. Donald Trump has stoked the flame of division once again, coincidentally, to an empty crowd, saying, quote, "We are now in the process of defeating the radical left, the anarchists, the agitators, the looters, and the people who in many instances have absolutely no clue what they're saying. Takes a clueless to know a clueless." Back to you, Phil Luzi. Over to you.
Oh, I like that.
I know, we just added them. You missed a few of them. Phil. Oh, so good. Let's get
So if I have learned anything from being raised on Young and the Restless is Catherine Chancellor is a millionaire, but she's a sweetheart, especially when she stopped drinking, number one. Number two, the 4th of July is the most important fucking day of the year for Americans. It's when Nikki Newman threw her fucking big picnic with the pool. It's when Joe came back and made out with Victor. It's when Ashley was wearing her star-spangled bikini. It's when Cricket brought cupcakes to Dawn Abbott's house, and you're like, what are you doing here? And something happened this year, you know? Like, it was like, our president is a racist bigot, and we can't celebrate this anymore. This year is dedicated to, you know, taking statues down and calling out people for what they are. And it was so beautiful to see. Like, I got such a thrill. And I love the meme that went out. I don't know if everyone saw it, but it was like a white military man singing "Funk You Up" by Bruno Mars to an empty crowd. And the irony couldn't have been like reimagined by Machiavelli himself. It was just the most gorgeous, perfect, poetic thing. This year, the 4th of July for me was like the best 4th of July I have ever witnessed on or off the set of Genoa City. Okay, I'm telling you, justice is like somewhere around there. They crumbled this like institution of flag worshiping, and it didn't happen this year. I was happy to see that. What do you guys think?
Oh, Phil, that was beautiful. That was insane. I was like, oh my God, Nikki Newman. Like I used to spend my days.
Oh my God, Victor Newman.
Drama. I love those people.
Cricket brought cakes.
She did.
What did Nikki Newman do?
Danny Romalotti sang something like
Danny Romalotti.
America the Beautiful.
The worst 4th of July that I had.
Drusilla did some co-work.
Don't say a bad thing about Drusilla.
I love Drusilla.
I love Drusilla. I'm loyal to Drusilla.
This was the year that I realized that something was really, really wrong. I was in my apartment at Wilson Avenue Road, and it was the 4th of July celebration during George W. Bush, and Tony Danza came out on the fucking lawn and sang, oh my God, I wish I remember, it was something like, you can do anything, in front of veterans from the Iraq War who literally were like, had arms blown off and were like, their faces were like distorted because they'd been hurt. It was the most fucked. And then that was the year I was like, I think something's really wrong here. Tony Danza, when Tony Danza came out, he sweat so much. Like Tony Danza must be going through a menopause or like something, because to see him, like I was like, I'm losing it. I can't. It was so hard to watch.
Danza pause.
And then they had videos in the back of like great people, like American athletes. They were mocking the veterans. I was so like, and now all of a sudden everybody's forgiving George W. Bush for being a fucking war criminal.
Yeah. Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. But Andrew, you remember that story about our friend Alex, the comic in New York now, and he went to a slow pitch game. You know, you're supposed to throw underhand slow pitch softball, and this guy was throwing overhand, and he's like, "What the hell's going on? This guy's throwing overhand. Like, did anyone notice this guy's throwing overhand?" And the guy next to him was like, "You tell him not to throw overhand. That's Tony Danza." Tony Danza really can't do anything. He could throw overhand at a friggin' softball game. Like, you tell Tony Danza not to throw overhand.
If everyone in this panel has a Tony Danza story, and I know Phil has one.
Oh my God. Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Candice, like, you don't have a Tony Danza story?
You know what? I deeply regret my lack of Tony Danza story.
Guys, I don't know who Tony Danza is.
Oh God, we need to call him.
Who's the boss? Will be back in a moment. Stick around.
Who's the boss?
Jill, do you have a Tony Danza story? You must.
Tony Danza.
You know, and then, guys, just like when you're saying, so July 4th is the day that is called, you know, the Day of Independence. Coincidentally, a couple of days after Canada Day. Who won first? We did. You know what I mean? And these guys, they all came together like, we got to separate. We don't want the Brits. And we're like, okay, yeah, the Brits suck too, for sure. But we're going to just try and be a little more peaceful over here while you guys fuck shit up. So, like, what are they independent from? You know what I mean? It's like they... I think it's a racist day, because right these days.
Of course.
Well, yeah.
Especially when the president is saying that Christopher Columbus discovered this. Like that's what we call a lost cause.
Invaded.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Stole.
Yeah.
I remember I discovered this guy's wallet one time when I pulled a knife on him. And
exactly. 3 Monty. 3
I hope it's his last July 4th, eh? As president.
I hope that, you know what, I was telling Alex Pavone today. I was on the phone with Alex Pavone, and I was telling him about Baba Vanga, this Bulgarian psychic. I don't know if you've seen her. She's this blind Bulgarian psychic. She predicted 9/11. She said she's like, you know, she says that between maybe a little bit after this and 2060 something, America will retreat from global empire because it breaks them, and that they won't be as dominant in the world. Maybe in the 2060s, who knows? She also said that the last president of the United States was Barack, would be a black man. And then people will go like, "Oh, look, she fucked up." I go, "Yeah, no, but Barack Obama was the last president of the United States, because when Donald Trump became the leader, they were no longer the United States." Even though that's a false idea too, this United States. Guys, I had this
the last person to actually get the majority of the votes.
Yeah.
In democracy, right?
Think about it. He was the last president.
But I think that Trump is the expression of a side of the Americans, a very real expression.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It needed to be exposed. As much as this is like a horrible time in human history, especially American history, if this didn't happen, all those things that have been swept under the rug for all these years would have just stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
And it got exposed from their obsession and their monopoly and their grandiose schemes of media, of controlling media all over the world.
Oh my goodness!
Not how much they fucked Canada up, because God, that is the greatest invasion never told. Silent, okay? Is the Americans have sucked the whole throw away the key. That invade, and they do this all over the world. So it's like they regulate content requirements in Korea. What the fuck are you talking about here? Yeah. And so then, but what the irony is that this media thing then got exposed, with this insatious desire to always consume media, then both faces face each other, and they're like, the facade is over.
I think that all of us in America, in the American continent, we all live in the American empire.
Yes.
We all live in the American empire.
You're right.
Yeah. That's it.
Except we have to pay to actually live on their property.
Yeah, and that's gross. Did you know that Mexico or Texas, wherever Texas is, obviously that was Mexico. I mean, a good part of that United States is Mexico that they stole. And apparently the Mexicans said, you can stay on that land. You can stay on this land and do your business. Yeah. Just don't invade us. Just don't take over. And that's what they did. They stole their land, but they let them be there. Isn't that amazing?
Well, in fairness, like America, they've been stealing land the whole time. We're lucky they stopped.
Fair.
Like, it's amazing they stopped. Because up until then, you'd be like, I can't believe they don't own Brazil and Argentina and the rest of it, because they're just playing risk. They just keep taking things over.
Well, they do.
Mexico was like, if you guys would just chill out there, you can stay. Yeah.
They own South America. You know what?
Yeah, that's outsourced.
Look what they did to Chile. You know what I mean? They just put dictators in where they want to. Yeah. Like, you're right. I mean, they haven't taken our land, Canada. I think part of it's because they don't like the cold. Oh,
jeez.
No, I think so.
And we could do a lot of stuff wrong. We could do a whole conversation on the our land, Canada, right? Because
that's true.
Canada has its own history of stealing a thing or two.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That was. I found it funny where the native people, some of them were like, they don't want to celebrate Canada Day, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to celebrate Bike Day with the guy who stole my bike.
You want to celebrate what?
I wouldn't want to celebrate Bike Day with the guy who stole my bike. Like, of course they don't want to celebrate Canada Day. Like, it's.
I think we can certainly acknowledge our country. We can acknowledge, its triumphs, but we can never ignore the traumas.
No,
and that is a long-lasting legacy that those of us who are, quote unquote, in power need to work to shift. We need to work to shift it. And, slashing tens of millions of dollars from the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs isn't the way to do it.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way to do it.
No, absolutely not.
We just got to get
Or the Indigenous Culture Fund. Just saying.
Yeah. Guys, yeah.
Goodness.
We're going to move on to our next topic, guys. As we do, this is the last and final one. And but before that, just take a listen.
hey guys, it's that time of the show. It's time for you to comment below. Let us know how it's going. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you want to hear. If you got questions, put them down there too, and we'll get to them at the end of the show during question period. Right before dance time.
Dance time. So guys, I'm trying. Javier Bolsonaro has been calling it, or not Javier, Jair. How do you say, Chris? Carol?
Jair.
Zaire.
Jair.
Bolsonaro has been calling it a little flu. Well, now it's a big flu, and he's got it. Our girl Carol Zoccoli will give you the goods as per usual.
Well, did he get it or not? We are not sure. This motherfucker is a liar. Because back in March, this son of a bitch
don't insult bitch.
To visit Donald Trump, came back, 6 people in his business group
entourage
got COVID, and he took like 3 tests and said that it was negative, but Fox News announced that it was positive, and he never released these tests. So now he has a test and is all like, oh my god, here, I got COVID, and the next day he appeared like drinking, taking chloroquine, right?
Hydroquinone.
Yes. And say, I feel better. I'm cured.
What a fuck.
Because he made the Brazilian army do like more than 2 million pills of fucking hydroxychloroquine. Trump tried to push this thing there. Americans say, fuck this shit. Trump sent the chloroquine, all the chloroquine to Brazil. And now Bolsonaro wants to make people take the fucking chloroquine.
Oh my goodness.
What is it? What is it? It's bleach?
No. It is a legit thing. It is a
pill.
Malaria.
Oh, I know this. Yes.
Yeah, actually, my brother took this when he had malaria. But so we have in Brazil like all this chloroquine, and I think he's just a stunt. He's trying to push
Goodness.
medicine. It's insane. That's why. When you guys say like Biden is similar to Trump, I don't think so. Like it's different. Like both evil, but like it's a different kind of evil. Like you know what I mean? Like this is like so low. Like to push like this is so low that I don't think some people have a limit.
Yeah.
I love that we're comparing evil to evil. Is it? Can you? Evil to evil. Right? If we had a grade of evil, if you're 10, you're hot evil.
It's like a talent competition of evil.
You know what's probably the most evil is that the cameras and the media is all waiting to listen to what this fucking clown says. And it's all the people, the most negative, sick people have the loudest megaphones.
Oh,
they're making us believe a narrative about this planet that is false, that is based on thievery, and we got to stop listening to them. Literally turn our backs, create a new world. Like that's the call. That's the call from the gurus and the prophets right now.
You want to know something, Sandra? I've heard about this really great psychic from the past. He's long gone, but his name was Karl Marx. And he had a few predictions about the future. I mean, if you could really get into some of that psychic Marx, I think, we might learn a thing or two.
Goodness.
Me?
True.
No, just all of us. I just feel like we would listen more to those things if we said that Karl Marx was a psychic versus if he was a political philosopher.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to start a stop following Donald Trump on Twitter. Like if everyone just stopped following Donald Trump on Twitter.
Yes.
I want to see what lengths he would go to get his messages across.
He'd pass legislation. He'd make it mandatory.
He'd do that to you, Phil. Yeah.
I mean, I say
I
do
tell
it.
ya.
You might get a visit or two from the FBI. I don't know.
Nothing that never happened before.
Yeah, that's right. You'll be like, you know what? They'll show up at your door and be like, "Oh my God, I've been waiting for you. Come on in." And it's like,
Come on in.
lounge music. Can I get you a cognac?
Guys, I'm afraid. I type my phone on my camera. Everything is typed. I'm afraid of them. They're watching me. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, guys. What were we just talking about? I got hot.
President of
Bolsonaro.
Brazil, yes.
So now we're gonna move.
COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Girl,
gonna.
I love that skepticism. That's the best. Might
going
not
to-
have it.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's true. That's a real concern. People, yeah.
No, I don't disagree. I just think it's amazing to even be like serious about. You might not have it. It totally could be a lie.
You know what he said on TV? He said that wearing mask is it's for gay, but he used a slur.
Oh yes. And
Why?
he's also
We use our mouths way more than the
same-sex
straight
marriage, right?
we use our mouths more than the what?
Than straight guys, probably.
Yeah. Exactly.
But he said that. Can you imagine, like, this is crazy.
At the end of the day, when you're an elected official, for goodness sakes, like, you are held to a higher standard, and you got to be careful what you're saying, especially in public, right? I mean, give me a break. Wear the masks, follow your public health officials. He is simply garbage, quite frankly. I mean, completely alt-right, racist, homophobe, this, that, we can say it all against women's rights, against abortion, this, that, and the other, but for goodness sakes, do the right thing so that more people aren't dying by the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem here, is you have egos running.
Yes.
So this is a shift in the ego. Like this is like the revolution of the spirit. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're the one. So we've been complicit in a system that we've been in fear of them. So what lies were we buying into? What did we praise? We praised the wrong things. You know what I mean? So we all need to just say, hey, you know what? I was part of that system. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. So I'm going to speak about who I am, and not fucking be in those asshole circles anymore. Cause it's fucking,
it's ridiculous. And I mean, none of us are perfect. Like, I mean, I think if anyone that's in the public's like, oh, well, I've got this high moral compass, for God's sakes, we all have our skeletons piling up in the closet. But the point of the matter is, you don't let your skeletons cause you to be such an idiot that you're killing people, essentially. This is social murder, for goodness sakes. When you're in a position.
I have a question.
Don't embrace the skeletons.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carol.
No, he's gonna be judged by the international. I forgot the name, but he's definitely, because what he's doing is literally a genocide. It's literally like
There you have it.
in Brazil. It's almost 70,000 people, but the numbers are very undercounted.
70,000 people dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a lot of people dying at home. There's a lot of people dying in the favelas that they don't even have,
records for.
nothing.
Oh, I love that word, favelas.
And he's just telling people to not wear a fucking mask.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I'm sure he's gonna be judged. I'm gonna tell you, like, I think people will kill him on the streets. I think that will happen. Maybe people will just kill him. I don't know.
They need to somebody needs to get rid of him. It has to be a foreign, or maybe people inside his country, but that's everyone was always talking about Trump. We got to get rid of Trump. And it's like, unless a foreign country is going to go in and take him out, who inside is going to do it? So maybe inside they can, but that, to me, I was like, after George Bush got out of government, I was like, what happened to the days when a dictator got hung from his feet in the town square and got thrown tomatoes at them? You know what I mean? They did that with Mussolini.
What happened to the dignity? What happened to the dignity?
Dignity, Phil.
You know what I mean?
What happened to guillotines? Bring the guillotine back.
Right? Yeah.
I'll just say that we proudly mentioned in every one of our newsletters that mask wearing is crucial. That hand washing, social distancing. I'm going to be honest. Like, I think, we can't We can't sit back and allow the economy to dictate, health and safety. And I gotta say, as happy as I am to see us reopening, I'm very concerned because every time I go out, it's like, what's social distancing? What's a mask?
I'm with you, girl.
Absolutely.
It's a little dangerous out there.
I went downtown yesterday.
People want to forget.
Yeah.
They want to forget what you're supposed to do.
And we can't. Like, we are not out of we're not out of danger. I mean, our numbers are going down, which is great. It's allowing our morale to go up a little bit.
Yes.
But, we've got anti-mask advocates. We've got MAD. We've got, give me a break. And we have a lot of work to do, and we have to maintain the mask wearing, unless, of course, you have a medical reason, and we have to maintain social distancing and our 6 feet. Heck, I do 10 feet when I can. It's serious. This is serious.
We got to move to the next topic. But yesterday I was downtown and, went to around King West, and it was like, I did not enjoy it. Lots of people out. People were dressed up in heels, and I'm like, I didn't even imagine people were doing that yet. I was like, everyone's just still like me, just wearing loose clothes and no bra at home, right? Guys, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
We're gonna go to our last topic, but before we do, just we got a word from the.
This episode of Soft Left is brought to you by the color red. Cause I look fabulous in it. Yeah.
Okay, that was an insult. That was a complete and utter insult. It should have been orange. It should have been orange.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, guys, in a campaign called Stop Hate for Profit, people like the NAACP and Anti-Defamation League are asking advertisers to protest against hate and disinformation. And now for more on that, we got Candice Gregoris.
It's me. In response to a lot of calls to get advertisers online and different social media platforms to vet the different advertisements that they put on their sites, Twitter was one of the first to respond, and they actually put a fact check on a Donald Trump tweet. And that kind of kicked off the big push to also get Facebook to fact check different advertisements, which Mark Zuckerberg has been very resistant to doing. So in response and to some pressure, different advertisers have decided to pull all of their Facebook advertising for the month of July. So that's some big American corporations, like including Unilever and Best Buy, and not to be left out, Lululemon also. Their advertising, you want to get that middle-aged white lady yoga content protesting there too. But they've been, Facebook has been resisting. Mark Zuckerberg is saying like there's some forays. I think we've just recently seen some things on Facebook where they've been fact checking. So and I also want to put it out there as well, is that I recently found out that 80% of all digital ads, so online ads, are either on Google or Facebook. So they really have a monopoly on what people get to see in terms of advertising online. So what do we think about that? There's a Facebook memory for you.
Jeez. I'm writing that down. Jeez.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Facebook is going to be like. It's going to be like the cemetery, because it's the obituary section. Do you guys notice this? Every time I go on Facebook, somebody's dead. I'm like, I can't read this. You know what I mean? Last night, I think it starts off like, my mother died. And I was like, oh no. You know what I mean? I know that those are the places to do it because family's there. But really, the advertising, burn it down.
Facebook, I don't know who else I got 3 invitations to a new platform called Alignable today. Did anybody get those?
No.
Yeah, so I think it's like trying to swim up to the Facebook shore, because I think that ship is going to sink soon.
I'm going to invite you guys.
Wow.
Because that's what people are talking about. Like, I have a friend who does VR, and she says that you could create your own network, like your own internet, where you like connect with people who have the same email address, like to a Linux server or something. And so you can create a network. So like, I think that's going to be a bit of the future where people are just going to create like remember I don't know if you guys, you might have, like in the first days of the internet where you were on a listserv and I was on a history listserv.
Yes.
So that's the way it used to be. I think that's where it might go. So it's like, if your interest is whatever, and you know your group of friends, I don't know, you make the rules yourselves.
Yeah.
Facebook is a dirty demon. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say. It's hate, it's truth, it's facts. It's confused people and made them sick.
You know, I think I also find myself wondering, well, where's the regulation? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I know, and what role does government play in that? Because I know I've submitted posts that are flat out racist, homophobic, and I've gotten back a response. Sorry, you know, whatever it says, it doesn't cut across our community, whatever, blah, 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 that it is. But it doesn't get taken down. It doesn't get taken down. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, who's making the decisions around what's seen as racist content or homophobic content? And at the same time as well, some of these companies, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, whatnot, they're pulling their ads for 30 days. But I think we need to hold these companies, you know, accountable for creating actual institutional plans to address those, you know, forms of discrimination. I mean, you know, the 30-day block or the black box for Black Lives Matter. I mean, these are cute tokens, but you want to see more, right? And I mean, Unilever, for instance, you know, I heard that they're taking the word fair out of Fair and Lovely, their skin bleaching, skin lightening line in India, Africa, you know, Asia, whatnot. But that's part of racism too, right? So, you know, you can say you're against racism on Facebook, but if you're promoting a product, you know, for people to burn their face off, you know, essentially take away their melanin and turn white, there's an issue there too, right?
I just want to say though that the fact that they're doing what a big, like, it seemed like they're heroes. The advertisers are boycotting because they don't have any fucking money. Do you know what I mean? Like the pandemic. Well, they don't have any fucking money.
Consumerism.
Oh, and now it's just gonna be like, we're boycotting because, hey, well, you know what, Chuck? We got no money. You know what I mean?
Let me layer into this lasagna. Let me put another stretch and noodle on top of this. Is the fact that I feel like it's like saying, I'm so mad at you. I'm not going to give you my money this month. I'm going to wait till next month to give you my money. And that's been part of what's been said now too. Totally, Jill. Is your point is that where's the regulation? Where's the role of government to say, well, actually, Facebook, here's a standard that you have to meet. And in fact, it's so funny that you should say that. One of the jurisdictions where they have done that the first and tried to and put legislation in is Germany. So Germany is because of their history, post-war history, of course, and there being the consciousness in that country about the rise of racism and anti-Semitism there. They're one of the only countries that have put legislation in place for what different social media groups have to vet and being responsible for the content that advertisers put on there. Because Facebook in particular, they're pretty good at, you know, taking something down if there's a nipple. They're pretty good at taking something down if it's, you know, two men kissing. They're going to be right on that. However, if it's questionable political advertisements or putting a claim in a political ad, like Mark Zuckerberg has literally said, that's not up to us to regulate speech. I'm like, you regulate speech all the time, Zucky.
Zucky.
Down. What is that? How dangerous is that versus like some fake thing that
Canada let Facebook and all these social media platforms come in with, they're not regulated. They just did a telecommunications review in Canada that hadn't been updated since the 70s.
Yikes.
So they let these motherfuckers come in.
My wheels are turning now, Candice.
Well, there's a great, if you listen to CBC Front Burner, they did a really great podcast on that this past week about Facebook.
Okay, so guys, on that note, are you ready to do dance party?
I am.
We're coming to the end. Just before question period, we get loose, all of us. We shake it, Shake it, then bake it. Bake it. Shake it, bake it.
Are we ready? Are we
What is
ready?
it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Here we go.
Oh my gosh. That's how the soft left does it. You know what I'm saying? This is how we do it. Friday night.
Yeah.
It is Friday night.
It's Friday night. Almost.
Friday Eve.
Almost. A Friday Eve. Eve, night, morning, they all blend together. Jeez.
They all do.
Yeah, I've had about 90 Friday nights in a row.
Lucky you, Monty.
Here Fridays.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What? Do we have any questions?
So check it out. We got this.
It's all about the moral of human.
It's all about the U.S. gave themselves the right to invade any country in the Americas, which they deemed at risk from British European monarchist invasion. Yeah, girl. Monroe it is.
One bad deal can kill you.
I preferred the Marilyn Monroe doctrine much more.
Julie Bott, I love you so much.
YNR forever.
Oh my God, my Nona used to call Victor Newman Faccia di Babune.
My mom used to call my dad Victor Newman when he act like an asshole.
And we nicknamed my dad Gorbachev.
Oh, yeah. For me, I found myself thinking deeply about Mamie, which was probably a spin-off of Mammy.
Yeah.
You know, do some research on Mammy and the American racist history around that, eh? The black Mamie to the rich white family. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Mamie. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Mamie. Yeah.
Wow.
I tell you.
Wow. I mean, I don't watch it anymore, but wow, that's so true.
Cool.
I'm sorry. I was a lead balloon there.
No,
It's all good. All balloons.
My damn poo. Bam.
I think we had a message there from Marissa that it was Russia's coming for us.
Oh, yes.
Oh wait, no, that's another one.
No, it's this one.
They're coming for us, Sandra. Russia
They
coming
are.
from the north and the
Okay.
U.S. coming from the south. Big conspiracy. Huge. It's gonna be great.
I mean, personally, I would learn Russian. You know what I mean? I want to just talk like this. You know what I mean? Imagine how different.
Spasiba.
I think
I
think it would get rid of the twats in the city. You know what I mean? You're just like, hey, I just want this bread.
You're more of a suburban
taking a
twat
picture.
person. You're not really a city twat.
Marissa says, Jill, I'm worried about
Lecce,
and that everyone has
Ryan
forgotten
Lecce.
about the mess.
Yes. You know, oh goodness. I tell you, parents are scrambling now because there isn't a child care plan. There isn't much of an education plan. It's like, will they be in school? Will they not be in school? Will they be online? You know, people just want clarity. They want clarity. And what they don't want is more cuts to education, because you're very, very right, Marissa. Millions of dollars siphoned out of school, you know, certainly not helping students or educators. We need more teachers. We need more education workers. We need more child and youth workers now. We need more mental health guidance counselors, for goodness sake, social workers, because kids and families, this has been a struggle for them. Some are adapting, many are not. And the government is just not giving a clear plan because, September's around the corner, and if there isn't a child care plan in the province, guess who's going to have to stay home and roll back into the 50s? It'll be predominantly women.
It will be.
It'll be predominantly women.
Because they'll be the lower paid of the two, probably.
Yeah, that's
statistically speaking.
When you were talking about a plan, you're like, the government needs a plan. And then I started to think, I'm like, but I'm sure they're under loads of paperwork, right, guys? Like this must be the mountain of emails. Like all the emails they're getting, like I'm starting to get madder with my thing. It's like, I'm now gonna tell you how I feel. And they're just getting it. I just think it's kind of really funny.
Ford has a plan. It's the same plan as his education, is drop out of high school.
Yeah.
That's his plan. Never has there been a more obvious government of high school dropout.
It's a comedy of errors, no pun intended. I tell you.
I just say we need less hours. Cut the work week down 4 days max. Okay.
Oh God, I
Cut
wish
the
we
days-
had fewer hours. I really
Sandra,
do.
You're on to something. Self-care.
In Finland, the kids go to school 3 hours a day and have no homework. What are these kids? I'm always like, what are these kids doing at school? And they work on projects.
Nothing, man. I don't know what they're learning at school, but it's not school. I can tell you
Because
that.
during a pandemic, these fucks are just on their video games. When I'm like, when this all stopped, it just was like, wow, what the fuck were we doing? Then now we have to stay inside and we got nothing to do because we're so used to other people doing shit for us. Then people start
He'd be the best education minister. He'd be like, I don't know what's the matter with these little fucks.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's the matter with the government, quite frankly. But anyway, there's a lot we can say about education. I think the thing I would say the most, having come from education before I got into politics, is, our educators, our education workers, they've been doing the best job they can, in a broken system that's been funded way below inflation. And that has had several cuts. Like, for goodness sakes, you don't take away arts. You don't cut 10,000 teachers, you don't cut the after school program that helps marginalized kids, get connected and stay engaged in their community after school. These aren't the things you cut. They're not.
They cut those things to give it to the mining and oil and the pimps, the oil pimps from the United States, because truly America owns our oil. Canada would be green if it wasn't for America. We would have listened a long time ago. But guys, on that somber-ish note, anyway, this was really a fascinating, amazing episode. I know we had a lot of glitches, but I think it was the humidity. Okay, I really do. And just everybody felt in the last couple of days the energy's fucked. I know, I'm feeling it, guys. I know you're feeling it too. Please, like, if you ever, if you ever have a hard time, just breathe. This is what we all need to do.
Think about Karl Marx.
Yes.
Think about Karl.
What was it? Relax, relate, release. Remember that?
Yeah.
Meditate. Stop listening to the perversions of a sick bunch of fucks like fucking Bolsonaro and fucking Trump. These greedy fucks. They're yipping and yapping, saying nothing. I learned more in this hour that we've been together. Hour 20. Okay, whatever. We got it. I learned more in this hour 22 than all week. But oh my God, you guys are amazing. I'm just gonna put it around the room, just guys, and you too, Jill. Just if you have any shout outs and just where to follow you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Jill, yeah, you go.
Oh, sure. Okay. Jill's Last Word on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, that's my Facebook handle. And what do I have to plug? Oh my goodness. Please, please, please check out my Save Arts and Culture open letter to the government, to the Ford government, demanding support for our cultural workers. Because I got to tell you, y'all have really been keeping us mentally together as a province during COVID-19.
And watch her speech in the legislature. It's moving. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
It was such a joy to have you. Candice Gregoris.
Woo! Well, you can follow me on either Instagram or Twitter, or hell, both, at Candice Gregoris. And I also wanted to plug that right now, please stay tuned, particularly in Toronto, for all of the virtual town halls for the TPS, Toronto Police Services. They had to extend their one-day virtual town hall to a 4-day town hall. Ooh. So the first one was today. It's going to be tomorrow. And there's 2 next week, next Wednesday in July. So let's keep the police accountable.
Amazing. Phil Luzi.
Yeah, you can follow me at Phil Luzi Official. Entertainment, though, watch Ranny on Stars. And it's amazing. Dave Merhaj is in it. And it's just been renewed for season 3. And it's going to be good. It's a great show.
We love you, Dave Merhaj. Carol Zoccoli.
Guys, follow me on Instagram. It's at Zoccoli Carol, like it is here.
And Monty Scott.
Well, follow me Twitter, Instagram at Monty Mofo Scott. You can check out my album, The Abyss Stares Back, at comedyrecords.ca. And big up Dave Merhaj as well. And Jill, thanks for coming by.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice to meet you, Jill.
Thanks
We
for
hope
having
you.
me.
We hope you come back.
I would love to. I would love
that'd
to.
be-
You all
yeah.
are freaking amazing. And I'm really jealous because I wanted to jump in on all the F-bombs, but you know.
Let's just have a personal Zoom call, right? Just a personal Zoom call. I'm gonna throw it out to Joe for a shout out and where to follow her. There is no woman who makes things more reality quicker than this woman. She is a
Joe's the best.
magician. And she does so much work for the comedy community. She donates. She's incredible, and we're so blessed to have her. Shout out.
Yo, man. Boom. Mob Boss Joe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all those fun channels, and Red Fedora Comedy, because we're coming at you after COVID. Boom.
Guys, and I'm Sandra Battaglini.
Yes, Joe.
At Sandra Battaglini is my handle. My website is Sandra Battaglini. And please visit softleft.com. We're so happy to have you. This is getting more fun by the week. We'll see you next week, Thursday, 7 p.m.
Bye.